Yo, what's going on, guys? Mush back at it with another video, here to talk a little bit about Borderlands 4 now that the game has been out for a day. Gearbox has finally decided after the release of the game, which is just so infuriating to me, to put out an optimization guide for the game. Why is this not posted like a week before the game comes out? I will never know. Maybe because if they did put out a post like that, people would have even bigger unhinged meltdowns, and people like myself would be calling it out as absolute lunacy, or certain aspects of it as lunacy. But you want to be as transparent as possible when it comes to these things. And yes, there are people that are playing Borderlands 4 that are having a serviceable experience or even a good experience. Let me go over some of the key talking points since, there is a newer audience watching some of my Borderlands content. Good is relative, and it's a very, very subjective thing. I should say good performance. What you view as good performance, look, there might be people, and one of my buddies is like this, he has a 5080, and he does not care if he plays games at 30 frames per second. He is an anomaly, but maybe not even that big of an anomaly. Sometimes I feel like people get these higher-end graphics cards as like, whoa, look at me, I have a higher-end graphics card, but at the same time, they won't be critical about bad PC performance because they don't really care. They got the higher-end graphics card because they have the disposable income. They genuinely don't care about high performance. I really do believe there's a lot more people out there like that than you guys realize. I get that sometimes we do live in this bubble about me being super critical about things, and I feel like I should be critical about these things because if I'm spending a premium on a GPU, I should have the right to expect quality performance, but I do feel like there's a portion of people out there that pick up high-end PCs and they don't give a crap about performance. Literally, I believe that. They pick up their high-end PC, they boot up games, they leave it at the default settings, they never open up a frame rate counter. If a game dips in frame rate a little bit, they do not care. If a game crashes, they reboot it, they do not care. They're not going to be critical about these things, and honestly, they kind of view the graphics card, and they look at their PC in general being like, whoa, look at me, yeah, I got my $2,500 PC, and I say that because I literally know people in my personal life that are like that, and those are the type of people that I feel like are more defensive about PC performance across the board. I mean, like, what are you guys expecting? You guys expecting 200 frames per second across the board? Well, first of all, I don't think Borderlands 4 is this absolute technical masterclass in terms of visual presentation. I love the Borderlands art style, don't get me wrong, but the fact of the matter is that there are high-end GPUs that are dipping in frame rates, and on top of that, the crashing. Now, my experience on an RTX 4070, let me say, has not been that terrible. I am playing the game at medium settings, so you might be like, bro, you're playing the game at medium settings, and I'm playing the game at 4K, DLSS set to balanced, and frame gen turned on, and I am using all of the crutches available to me with the 4070, and the experience is okay. I personally haven't had a lot of crashes, but a lot of other people have had crashes, so I'm not going to diminish the fact that there are people reporting that they're having a ton of crashes just because I, at this point, after playing 5 hours of the game, have not had crashes. You guys see how I can do that? Some of you guys that are the, it runs fine for me people out there, like, yes, it runs fine for me, guys, but I can still assess the fact that I've talked to people that have had a plethora of issues. I literally got a message from somebody as I'm recording this video. Let me pull it up. Literally, the message is just, wow, it really does run terribly, as he's playing Borderlands 4. That's the one message. Literally, as I'm recording this video, that's the message I get sent. But another one of my buddies has a 5080. He's had crashes left and right, and this is a different friend with a 5080, and those are people in my personal life. If you go to the Steam reception, yes, the Steam reviews have gone up. When I recorded the video yesterday, it was at mostly negative. It was at like 40% positive. It is now at 60% positive. Whoa, dude, a mixed reception for a game at the level of Borderlands 4. You guys can all celebrate that, but there are still a ton of people putting out their reviews about this game performing poorly, and now we do have the performance performance videos that are going up, and a lot of the more professional performance observers are also assessing the fact that this game is performing poorly. And bear in mind the level of transparency that this game offered while being a game bundled with NVIDIA video cards. That's absolutely egregious. Think about that for a second. Borderlands 4 was a game that was bundled with NVIDIA video cards as a promotional vehicle to sell you on NVIDIA video cards, while at the same time being a game that Gearbox and 2K were not being transparent about the performance you can expect, the specifications required to run the game. 2 tiers of system requirements for a big game like this in the year 2025 is absolutely egregious. A game like this should have 4 to 6 tiers minimum. And on top of that, why is it a couple hours after the release of the game is when we get the NVIDIA optimization guide? And now they decide, after they get your $130, after you buy the Super Deluxe Edition and the game is out in the wilds, alright, let's go. Let's now give them a little bit more transparency. So minimum PC system requirements that we've gone over, that's for 1080p at 30 FPS with low preset settings. Why is that not listed in the system requirements section on Borderlands 4? Why were you not very transparent about that? Let's see if they've updated this. They have not updated the system requirements section on the Steam page, but that's something that should be listed on the Steam page. Why are you being transparent about that now after the game has come out? Recommended PC specs, that's 1440p at 60 frames per second with medium presets. Oh, and by the way, that is utilizing NVIDIA DLSS. 30 FPS with an RTX 2070, that's DLSS set to quality, and that's everything set to low, you guys, and that's 1080p. Now they do have a post that's a breakdown of the different settings that you should use at 1080p, 1440p, and 4K across all, or I shouldn't say all NVIDIA graphics card, but a lot of the NVIDIA graphics cards. And you know what's crazy? When you hit the 4000 series GPUs, it's just, no, we're not letting you turn off frame gen. Everything we're gonna give you is frame gen turned on. And again, frame gen should be used as something that's supplementary to PC gaming performance. We've all seen all of the hiccups with frame gen and what it causes with games, and it absolutely should not be used as a crutch to gaming performance, but that is now what it's being utilized, and that gives them an avenue. And I really do believe that DLSS and frame generation, it's gonna make optimization even worse, because now developers have this crutch that they can utilize. Well, even if it's not fully optimized, if it's not the best optimization we can do, we got frame gen, we got DLSS, they'll figure it out. And I feel like that's absolutely ridiculous. Optimize your game, and then, you know, if you want to use frame gen, use frame gen. If you want to use DLSS, use DLSS. But remember, with all of that technology, that also gives NVIDIA as the GPU makers to lock away that technology to newer GPUs, and that'll kind of push you and force you into upgrading from GPUs even before you're ready to upgrade, because now they have the ability, especially if they're being utilized this heavily, to lock away future iterations of frame gen or whatever the case may be. Again, I'm not the person to completely break down what NVIDIA is going to do or not going to do, but I digress. And what's insane to me is that they have the 1080p breakdown, and it goes all the way up to an RTX 5090, and even with the 5090, a 5090 at 1080p, they still want you to have frame gen turned on and multi-frame gen at 4x. It's just like, bro, a 5090 needs to use the frame booster of frame gen at 1440p. They min out at a 3070 Ti, and a 3070 Ti at 1440p, that's 30 frames per second that you're gonna get. 30 frames per second, 1440p DLSS set to balanced on a RTX 3070 Ti. At 3080 is looking to push at least 60 frames per second at 1440p. And again, they've got all the other ones. And then 4K, you'll need a minimum of a 3090 Ti. And on top of that, a 3090 Ti, you guys, that GPU's not that old. Are we gonna pretend like people are on older GPUs if they're using a 3090 Ti? And that's a top-level GPU from just a couple years ago. You guys, the PlayStation 5 came out in 2020 and was a $500 console. I don't even want to look up how much the 3090 Ti... Actually, you know what? For the sake of this video, we will look up. What? 3090 Ti launch date. Okay, let's figure out the launch date. March 29th of 2022. So that's 3.5 years old. What was the 3090 Ti launch price point? $2,000 was the launch price point of the 3090 Ti. 3.5 years later, if you want to play a 4K with a $2,000 GPU, you are left to playing with NVIDIA DLSS, but upscaling quality set to performance on a 3090 Ti, and then a lot of the settings set to medium and low. Which is that not insane? Or are we not gonna say that's insane for a 3.5-year-old video card playing a game like Borderlands 4, which I don't feel like is this technical masterclass in terms of visual presentation. I dig the art style. I love the Borderlands art style, but again, I think we're out to lunch here if we're talking about this game redefining technical performance and technical prowess on these video cards. And a $2,000 video card from 3.5 years ago. Again, I'm not completely in tune with how this game exactly is performing on consoles, but a $2,000 video card is 4x the price of a PS5, and let's be real, you know, most people, if they're buying a 3090 Ti, they've got FU money, and they're gonna upgrade their video card regularly, but still, for the sake of the argument, I do think that's insane. You know, and even look at some of these other GPUs, a 4070 Ti Super, again, not a super old GPU. I feel like some people are like, oh, why are you on your 4000 series GPU still? I mean, bro, like, not everybody's gonna update their video cards and upgrade their GPUs every year or every other year. Like, that's just not gonna happen. A 4070 Ti Super, also, they're asking for NVIDIA DLSS enabled, performance upscaling quality, DLSS frame gen turned on, and you're utilizing low settings as well on a lot of things. Foliage density, volumetric fog, volumetric cloud, shadow quality, directional shadow quality, all that set to low, some medium, and then you do have texture streaming speed at very high, texture quality at very high, and geometry quality at very high. A 4080 Super, a lot of this stuff is set to medium, and all of these GPUs, again, utilizing the NVIDIA DLSS and performance as the upscaling quality, and on top of all of that, from 4070 Ti Super, it's frame gen turned on with all of these, and DLSS multi-frame gen. Like, that's just insane to me, and I think if they were incredibly transparent about about the optimization guide, which, again, I think it tells you everything you need to know that they waited 5 hours until after the game came out. Once they had the mostly negative reception or mixed reception on Steam, that's when they put out the optimization guide. Does that not alarm any of you? Why were they not transparent before? They're asking you to pre-order the game. They're asking for you to get this pre-order bonus that, by the way, they have time to incentivize the pre-order bonus, so you have reason to pre-order the game even more. They have their $130 deluxe editions with content that's super meaningful, but they can't do the due diligence to drop an optimization guide before the game comes out, so you'll have a guideline of how to get the best performance possible and maybe give you a little bit of transparency. They don't even have the wherewithal to tell you that you know, the minimum requirements is for 30 FPS at 1080p at low settings, and recommended is 1440p 60 FPS at medium settings, and with all of that, it's utilizing DLSS, it's utilizing frame gen on the 4000 series and beyond GPUs. Like, this is stuff that absolutely there should be clarity of ahead of a game coming out, and when there isn't this level of transparency before a game comes out, that should immediately, always going forward now, that should be a clear indicator of it's just a gigantic red flag. They have the ability to tell you all of this information, but they're not. There's a reason for that, and even when they do tell you all of the information, a lot of the times the PC versions still turn out to be trash, and a lot of that is tied to Unreal Engine 5, and I get that, but again, when the red flags are there, it's my job to call it out, and I have been calling it out for the last few days. And a lot of you guys became aware about that. That's why, like, some of you guys weren't that surprised, but a lot of other people are taking it as me bashing a game. Like, I remember when I was calling out Monster Hunter Wilds back in September of last year about the crazy system requirements, and, you know, the people have their allegiances towards these games. Guys, I like Borderlands. I played Borderlands 1 literally the day it came out. I think it was October 9th or October 13th of 2009. Dude, and I played Monster Hunter Freedom on the PSP. Like, a lot of these franchises I am longtime fans of. I try to bring you guys the relevant information, and a lot of the times when you bring up the relevant information ahead of a game coming out, that's when so many of the hardcore diehards are still sipping the Kool-Aid, and they just want, they can't believe that their precious game might turn out to be a little bit of a disaster. Maybe disaster is a strong word for some of you guys, but, you know, with how this game turned out, I don't think it's that big of a disaster. And on top of that, let me also reiterate for the get a better PC folks out there, like, bro, a lot of my boys have a 5080. A lot of people out there have a 5080 that are getting crashes and things of that nature. And, you know, I honestly think it stings less when you have something like a GTX 30 or an RTX 3060 and the game is performing poorly, because at least you have, the excuse that, bro, I have a 3060. When you have a 5080 and a game is crashing regularly and there's performance hiccups, like, people spend a lot of money on these graphics cards, and what are they left with? They're left with crap sandwiches a lot of the time, and, it's honestly becoming kind of depressing, but at the same time, kind of funny seeing, like, yo, yes, I do rage about the it runs fine for me people out there, but I do believe there's now a certain amount of people that are just trolling me just because they like seeing me have an unhinged meltdown. But at the same time, like, no, there are people that are still the it runs fine for me people, and you see that with every game. I feel like there are still people out there that are saying that about Monster Hunter Wilds, and like, no, the negative reviews can't be real. These people are phantom people. They don't exist. They want 8,000 frames per second out of their games. They want good performance out of their $2,500 PC. Yo, how dare they? But nonetheless, that's gonna do it for me. Let me know all of your thoughts in the comment section down below. As always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace out. Hey, what's going on, guys? Mush here again. Hope you enjoyed the video. As you guys might know, YouTube's notification system is sometimes a little bit wonky, even if you're subscribed to the channel. Maybe you're not abundantly aware that I uploaded a video. To remedy that situation, make sure you hit the bell notification button. This way, whenever I upload a new video, and I try to upload as consistently as possible, you will be notified directly of the upload, and you can watch it as soon as it goes live. I would really appreciate if you guys hit that button so you can stay up to date with all of the content I'm posting. But as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.